Hey everyone, ready to get your hands dirty?
Oh, yeah.
Today we're diving deep into a career that's all about engines, the motor vehicle engine inspector.
That's right. We're going to use RoleCatcher's career and interview guides to help you ace that interview.
So think combustion engines, hybrids, electric vehicles, you name it.
It's a field that's in high demand, too.
You'll be the one making sure all those engines are running safely and smoothly.
Absolutely. From big diesel trucks to sleek electric cars.
And speaking of the job, the career guide really paints a pretty cool picture.
Yeah, it does.
It says you can work in all sorts of places.
You could be in assembly facilities,
Specialized mechanic shops.
even high-tech maintenance centers.
Talk about variety.
Right.
And career-wise, you could start as an inspector and then, maybe specialize in one type of engine.
Yeah, you could even move into like a supervisory role.
Or even go into something like engine design.
Exactly.
So many options.
There really are. But you know what?
Right.
First things first, gotta nail that interview.
Right. Okay, so RoleCatcher's interview guide has 10 sample questions.
Yeah, 10. And they're practically guaranteed to come up in your interview.
So are you ready to tackle the first one?
Absolutely. Let's hear it.
All right, here it is. Can you describe your experience with inspecting motor vehicle engines?
Seems pretty straightforward.
It does, but what are they really looking for with this one?
Well, I think it's your chance to really show off.
Show off.
Show off the depth and breadth of your experience.
Ah, I see.
Have you worked on a lot of different types of engines?
Right.
What inspection methods do you know?
Yeah.
This is where you want to think about specific projects that show your expertise. And don't be afraid to get into the nitty-gritty details.
I like that. The sample response in the guide mentions using numbers.
Numbers.
Yeah, like you could say something like, in my previous role, I inspected over 500 engines a month,
Oh, wow.
ensuring compliance with safety standards and identifying potential issues.
That's great.
Numbers make it real,
Yeah. They really do. And, this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really help.
Oh, how?
Well, it can analyze the job description and then suggest keywords or phrases
Oh, is it?
that align with what the employer's looking
So
for.
it's like having a personal interview coach.
Exactly.
Okay, now what if they follow up with something like, can you tell me about a time you had to troubleshoot a particularly challenging engine problem?
Well, this is where you really want to use the STAR method.
STAR method.
Yeah. So you describe the situation,
Okay.
the task you had,
Ah,
the action you took,
got it.
and the result you achieved.
So it's like a story.
It is. But you got to focus on your analytical and problem-solving skills.
Oh, that's a good point.
So did you use any diagnostic tools?
Yeah.
Did you consult technical manuals?
Right. No.
Did you collaborate with colleagues?
All good things to mention.
Exactly. So instead of just saying, I fixed it, you want to paint a picture
Right.
of how you systematically diagnosed and resolved the issue.
Love it. Okay, on to question 2.
Right. How familiar are you with engine parts and their functions?
Well, they probably don't want you to, recite an entire textbook, right?
Right.
But they definitely want to know how much you understand
How much you understand about the core components.
and how they work together.
Yes.
So think about, the pistons, valves, crankshaft.
Exact, yeah.
Those are some big ones.
And they're all about generating power and controlling the engine.
Yep. And remember, clarity is key here.
So use concise language.
And avoid getting too technical.
The guide suggests focusing on the practical side of things.
Ooh.
Interesting. So instead of saying the camshaft controls valve timing via lobes that interact with rocker arms,
Right.
you could say the camshaft makes sure the valves open and close at the right time
Much better.
for optimal engine performance.
Exactly. It's all about connecting those details to the big picture.
Okay, now what if they throw in a curveball? Like, what are the key differences between a diesel engine and a gasoline engine?
Oof. That's a good one. I know from the career guide that diesel engines use compression ignition, and gasoline engines rely on spark plugs.
That's right.
But how would you explain that simply and clearly?
Well, you could say something like, diesel engines use the heat of compressed air to ignite the fuel,
Okay.
while gasoline engines use a spark plug to ignite a mixture of fuel and air.
Nice. Simple and straight to the point.
Right.
And maybe you could even talk about the pros and cons of each engine type.
Exactly, to show you really understand.
Now, RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful with these kinds of curveball questions.
How so?
Well, it can analyze tons of industry data,
Oh, wow.
and then it can generate potential follow-up questions.
Really?
Yeah, it's like having a crystal ball.
That's amazing. Okay, are you ready for question 3?
Hit me with it.
How do you ensure that engines meet safety and environmental regulations?
Ooh, that's a big one. This is all about showing your commitment to compliance.
It really is.
So staying up to date on industry standards is key, right?
Absolutely.
The career guide really emphasizes continuous learning.
Yeah.
But how do you show that in the interview?
You could mention specific regulations, like emissions standards or safety protocols.
Okay, good idea.
And you want to highlight how you stay informed.
Like attending industry workshops, subscribing to publications.
Attend online forums, yeah.
The sample response in the guide talks about using checklists.
Checklists.
And staying informed about any updates.
To regulations, yeah.
So you could say something like, I regularly attend industry workshops and subscribe to relevant publications
Nice.
to stay on top of the latest stuff.
Love it. Now imagine they say, tell me about a time you had to deal with an engine that didn't meet regulations.
Oh, well, that's a tough one.
This is where you show off your problem-solving and ethical decision-making skills.
I want to emphasize my commitment to safety.
Yes.
And my ability to find solutions.
That balance compliance with, practical considerations.
Exactly.
So you'd want to describe how you identified the issue, assess the risks,
Right.
talk to the right people,
Got it.
and came up with a plan to get the engine compliant.
All about showing you can handle tricky situations.
With professionalism and integrity. Okay, next question.
Yeah, bring it on.
All right, can you explain how you diagnose and repair engine problems?
Now, this is where you really get to show off.
Right. Show off your hands-on experience.
It's your chance to walk them through your process,
Step by step.
highlighting your diagnostic skill
Your analytical thinking.
and your practical skill.
Exactly.
The guide says it's important to explain your methodology.
Methodology.
Yeah, so you could say something like, I start by gathering information from the client about the problem.
Okay.
Then I use diagnostic tools to figure out exactly what's wrong.
Uh-huh.
And then I come up with a repair plan, which I explain clearly to the client
Makes sense.
before doing anything.
That's a great approach. It shows you're thorough
Organized.
and a good communicator.
Now, what if they ask you to give an example? Yeah, of a particularly tough engine problem you faced
Oh, I see.
and how you overcame it.
This is where you can tell a good story.
Story time.
Right. Choose one that shows you can think outside the box.
Okay.
Maybe a time you had to improvise or go the extra mile.
I like it. And this is another place where RoleCatcher's AI can come in handy.
How so?
It can analyze your story and suggest ways to make it more engaging.
More impactful, yeah.
You want to leave a lasting impression.
For sure. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. What's next?
Question 5. How do you stay up to date with advances in engine technology?
This one's really relevant now.
It is.
What with electric vehicles and all the innovation.
Right. It's about showing your passion for the field.
And your commitment to constantly learning new things.
Absolutely.
The sample response says to mention specific resources you use to stay informed.
Ooh, like what?
Like industry journals,
Okay.
online forums,
That's
conferences.
in workshops, yeah.
So you could say something like, I'm an active member of several online communities
Oh, cool.
dedicated to engine technology.
Makes sense.
And I regularly attend conferences to keep up with everything.
Perfect.
Shows you're really engaged in the field.
It really does. And you know what? This ties back to what the career guide says about career advancement.
How so?
Well, it says those who stay ahead of the curve are more likely to get leadership roles or specializations.
So it's not just about the interview.
It's about setting yourself up for long-term success.
Love it.
And speaking of success, RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you identify relevant professional development opportunities.
Really?
Yeah, based on your goals and what skills are in demand.
Wow, that's like having a personalized career advisor.
Pretty much.
Okay, I'm ready for the next one. What is it?
Here you go. Can you give an example of a time when you identified an engine problem and developed a successful solution?
Wow, we're seeing a pattern here.
What pattern?
Seems like storytelling is a super important skill for this interview.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And we know the STAR method is our guide.
Absolutely.
And RoleCatcher's AI can analyze my story and suggest improvements.
Yeah, it can help make sure it's clear, concise, and makes an impact.
Okay, so let's say they ask, what were the biggest challenges you faced in that situation?
Okay.
And how did you overcome them?
This is where you show you're not just a problem solver.
But also resilient.
And resourceful.
Maybe you had to think outside the box or even push through some setbacks.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm starting to see how all these interview questions are connected.
How so?
They're not just about technical knowledge.
Right.
They're about your overall approach to problem solving
Communication.
and professional development
You got it. It's about showing your potential.
to succeed in this field.
Absolutely. Okay, ready for another challenge?
Hit me.
Question 7. It's, How do you prioritize your workload when inspecting multiple engines?
Ooh, that's a good one. Things can get really busy in a shop.
They can.
So how do you decide what to tackle first?
This is all about time management. You have to assess the urgency of each task,
Deadlines.
safety implications, availability of parts.
Yeah.
It's a lot to juggle.
The sample response emphasizes communication.
Communication, of course.
It says something like, I would first talk to the clients or supervisors.
Makes
Now,
sense.
understand what's urgent.
And if there are any consequences of delays?
Exactly. You don't want to be doing a routine checkup when there's a truck with smoke pouring out of it.
No way. And this actually connects back to what the career guide says about teamwork.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It says that teamwork and communication are super important for motor vehicle engine inspectors.
So it's not just about being a gearhead.
Right. You got to be a team player, too.
Okay, now what if they ask, what strategies do you use to stay organized and on track with multiple projects?
Ooh, this is where you show off your organizational skills.
Like what?
Do you use a planner?
A to-do list app.
Color-coded sticky notes?
Whatever works.
Just explain it clearly and show how it keeps you efficient.
I love that.
Ugh.
Okay, question 8 gets a little more personal.
Does it?
Can you discuss a time when you had to make a difficult decision regarding an engine inspection or repair?
This sounds like it could involve some ethical considerations.
You're right, the interviewer wants to know how you make decisions.
When things get tough.
Maybe you found a safety issue, but the repair would be really expensive.
Yeah, or maybe you had to decide between a quick fix and the long-term health of the engine.
Those are tough calls.
They really are.
The sample response talks about an inspector who found a really corroded engine.
Oh, wow.
It was a safety hazard.
Definitely.
But a rebuild would cost a lot.
Yeah, I
So
saw.
they had to explain the risks to the client.
Even though it wasn't what they wanted to hear.
Right. It's about balancing safety and the client's needs.
Exactly. And, this question lets you show off your integrity and communication skills.
Now, what if they ask, looking back, would you have handled that situation differently?
Ooh, interesting.
This is where you can show you're always learning and growing.
Yeah. Maybe you realized you could have explained things better.
Or explored other solutions.
It's about reflecting and improving.
And we know RoleCatcher's AI can help with these kind of behavioral questions.
Absolutely.
It can suggest ways to make your answers even better.
Help you present yourself in the best light.
All right, ready for the next challenge. What is it?
Okay, question 9. How do you ensure that your inspections are accurate and thorough?
This seems like a no-brainer.
It does, but it's super important.
You don't want to miss anything.
Exactly.
It's about showing attention to detail.
And having a systematic approach.
Think checklists, standardized procedures, meticulous documentation.
You got it.
The sample response talks about double-checking your work
Double checking.
and using different sources of information.
What do you mean?
Like, compare your visual inspection with the readings from your diagnostic tools.
I see.
Or check your findings against the manufacturer's specs.
That's really thorough.
Shows you're not cutting corners.
It really does. Now, what if they ask, what do you do to stay focused during inspections?
Especially in a busy shop.
Right. With all those distractions.
That's a good question.
It shows they want someone who's aware of those challenges.
Maybe you have a pre-inspection routine?
Oh, yeah, like a mental checklist.
Or you use noise-canceling headphones?
That's a good idea.
Whatever it is, it shows you're committed to accuracy.
And precision. Okay, ready for the final question?
Absolutely. What is it?
How do you handle conflicts or disagreements with customers or colleagues regarding engine inspections or repairs?
That sounds like it could get a little tricky,
It can.
especially when things are stressful.
This one really tests your people skills.
And your ability to stay cool under pressure.
For sure.
The sample response talks about active listening
Listening is key.
and empathy and staying calm
You want to show you can find common ground.
and work things out.
It's not about winning an argument.
Right.
It's about finding a solution that works for everyone.
So you could say something like, I always try to see things from their point of view
Okay.
and validate their concerns, even if I don't agree.
That's a great approach. Now, what if they ask for a specific example of a conflict you resolved?
That's when you really get to show off your skills
Yeah. Choose an example that highlights your communication.
and problem-solving abilities.
Exactly.
Maybe you mediated between a mechanic and a client.
Ooh, good example.
Or maybe there were different opinions on how to handle a repair.
It's all about showing you can handle those tough conversations.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
I want to touch on career advancement.
Ooh, good topic.
The career guide mentions there are lots of opportunities in this field.
There are.
So what are some of the paths someone could take?
Well, you could specialize in a certain type of engine,
Okay.
like diesel engines.
Or electric vehicles.
You could move into a supervisory role,
Leading a team of inspectors.
or even go into engine design, sales, or technical training.
So many possibilities.
And I bet RoleCatcher's AI can help people figure out those possibilities.
Yeah. It can help identify the skills and experience you need to reach your goals.
It's like having a personal career map.
Wow. All right, are you ready to tackle the rest of the interview questions?
Let's do it! Okay, ready for question 7?
Hit me.
It's, how do you prioritize your workload when inspecting multiple engines?
That's a good one. You know, in a busy shop, you could be juggling routine inspections, urgent repairs,
Yeah,
everything in between.
right. So how do you decide what to do first?
Well, this is where those time management skills really come in.
Absolutely.
So you have to assess how urgent each task is.
Right, and the potential impact?
Deadlines, safety implications, even if parts are available.
Yeah, all important factors.
So the sample response in the guide, it really emphasizes communication.
Makes sense.
It suggests saying something like, I would first communicate with the clients or supervisors.
To get a clear understanding of what needs to be done first.
Exactly, to figure out what's most urgent.
And if there'd be any consequences if things get delayed.
Right, because you definitely don't want to be doing a routine checkup when there's a truck with a smoking engine waiting.
Definitely not. And this actually ties back to what the career guide says about teamwork.
Really?
Yeah. It says that being a good team player and being able to communicate clearly are essential skills for motor vehicle engine inspectors.
So it's not just about the technical stuff.
Nope. It's about working well with others, too.
Now, what if they dig a little deeper and ask, what strategies do you use to stay organized and on track when handling multiple projects?
Ooh, I like this one. This is your chance to really showcase those organizational skills.
It's like giving them a peek into your system.
Exactly.
Right.
Do you have a planner you swear by?
Maybe a to-do list app on your phone?
Or are you a color-coded sticky note kind of person?
Whatever works for you.
The key is to explain it clearly and show how it helps you stay efficient.
And avoid dropping the ball.
Right. Okay, ready for question 8?
Bring it on.
This one gets a little more personal.
Ooh.
It's, can you discuss a time when you had to make a difficult decision regarding an engine inspection or repair?
This sounds like it could involve some ethical dilemmas.
You're right on the money. The interviewer is trying to understand how you make decisions.
When things aren't so clear-cut.
Exactly. It's not always black and white.
So what kind of scenario are we talking about here?
Well, imagine this. You're inspecting a fleet of delivery trucks
Okay.
for a small business, and you find a safety issue
Oh, no.
that could put the drivers at risk,
That's serious.
but the repairs are going to be expensive.
I see.
And the business owner, they're understandably hesitant to spend that much money.
Especially if they're on a tight budget.
Exactly. So how do you handle that?
That's a tough one. You have to balance safety concerns with the client's financial limitations.
It's a real dilemma, and it's something that a lot of inspectors face.
Yeah, I can see that.
The key is to be upfront with the client.
To explain the risks clearly.
And the potential consequences if they don't fix the issue.
You could even explore some alternative solutions.
Yeah, or maybe suggest doing the repairs in stages to make it more manageable.
Good idea.
The sample response talks about an inspector who found a cracked engine block.
During a routine inspection.
Yep. Oh, wow.
And the client, it was a young family.
Oh, no.
They were really upset about the news and the cost.
Yeah, I bet.
So the inspector, they took the time to really explain everything.
The safety risks, the potential for even more damage.
Right. And they even helped the family look into some financing options.
Wow, that's going above and beyond.
It really is. It shows that you care about people and you want to help them find a solution.
Okay, what if they ask, looking back, would you have handled that situation differently?
Ooh, good question. This is where you can show that you're always learning and growing.
Yeah, maybe you would have explained things differently.
Or tried a different approach.
It's all about reflecting on your experiences and finding ways to improve.
And we know RoleCatcher's AI can help analyze our responses to these kinds of questions.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It can point out areas where you can improve.
And suggest ways to make your answers even stronger.
It's like having a personal coach to help you nail that interview.
Okay, I'm ready for question 9. What is it?
How do you ensure that your inspections are accurate and thorough?
This seems pretty straightforward.
It does, but it's crucial. Accuracy is everything in this job.
Absolutely. You don't want to overlook anything.
Exactly. So it's not just about having a good eye.
Right.
It's about being systematic and meticulous.
Think checklists, standardized procedures, and careful documentation.
You got it.
The sample response talks about the importance of double-checking your work
Double checking. Always a good idea.
and using different sources of information to verify your findings.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you could compare your visual inspection to the readings from your diagnostic tools, or check your findings against the manufacturer's specifications,
That's a smart approach. It really shows you're thorough.
and that you're not cutting any corners.
Exactly. Now imagine they ask, what do you do to stay focused during inspections?
Especially in a busy shop environment.
Right. There can be a lot going on.
How do you avoid getting distracted?
It's a great question. It shows they're looking for someone who's aware of those challenges.
So maybe you have a pre-inspection routine you do.
Oh, yeah, like a mental checklist to get in the zone.
Or maybe you wear noise-canceling headphones to block out the distractions.
That's a good idea. Whatever works for you.
The important thing is to create an environment where you can focus on accuracy and precision.
Absolutely, both mentally and physically.
Okay, let's tackle the final question in this section.
All right, bring it on.
It's all about conflict resolution. The question is, how do you handle conflicts or disagreements with customers or colleagues regarding engine inspections or repairs?
Ooh, this is a tricky one. You're dealing with people and their emotions.
It can get heated.
Yeah, so this question is really testing your interpersonal skills.
And your ability to stay calm under pressure.
Exactly.
The sample response talks about active listening.
Active listening.
Yeah, really trying to understand where the other person is coming from.
Okay.
It also mentions empathy
Putting yourself in their shoes.
and maintaining a calm demeanor.
So even if you don't agree with them,
You validate their concerns
you want to try to find common ground.
and work towards a solution that everyone can live with.
Exactly.
Now, what if they ask for a specific example of a conflict you successfully resolved?
Ooh, that's a good one. Choose a situation that shows how you were able to communicate effectively and problem solve.
Maybe a disagreement between a mechanic and a client.
Yeah. Or a situation where there were different opinions on how to handle a repair.
You want to highlight your ability to have those tough conversations and reach a positive outcome.
Exactly.
You know, before we move on to the last few questions,
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on something we haven't really talked about much.
What's that?
Career advancement.
Ooh, good one.
The career guide mentions that there are lots of opportunities for growth in this field.
There are. It's not just a dead-end job.
Right. So what are some of the paths someone could take?
Well, you could specialize in a certain type of engine,
Okay,
like diesel engines or those used in electric vehicles.
makes sense.
You could also move into a supervisory role.
Oh yeah, leading a team of inspectors,
That's right. Or you could even branch out into something like engine design.
sales, or technical training.
Exactly. So many options.
And I bet RoleCatcher's AI can help you explore those options and figure out what skills and experience you need to get there.
It definitely can. It's like having a personalized career map to guide you.
All right, are you ready to tackle those last few interview questions?
Absolutely. Let's do it. All right. Are you ready for those last few questions?
Yeah, hit me with them.
Okay. So question 8 is all about those tough decisions you sometimes have to make as an inspector.
Okay, what's the question?
Can you discuss a time when you had to make a difficult decision regarding an engine inspection or repair?
This sounds like it's about more than just technical know-how.
You got it. They want to see your judgment, problem-solving skills, and integrity.
I bet there are a lot of gray areas in this job.
Oh, absolutely. It's not always clear-cut.
So what kind of situation are we talking about here?
Imagine you're inspecting a fleet of delivery trucks for a small business, and you discover a serious safety issue,
Oh,
one that could put the drivers at risk.
that's a big deal.
But the repairs are going to be really expensive.
Yeah, I see the dilemma.
The business owner, of course, doesn't want to shell out a ton of money, especially if their budget is already tight.
So how do you handle that?
It's all about balancing those safety concerns with the client's financial realities.
That's a tough spot to be in.
It is, and it's something that many inspectors face in their careers.
It sounds like communication is key here.
It really is. You have to be upfront with the client.
Explain the risks involved.
And what could happen if they don't address the issue?
You could even suggest some alternative solutions.
Right. Maybe there are ways to break down the repairs into stages or explore some other options.
Good thinking.
The sample response in the guide talks about an inspector who found a cracked engine block during a routine inspection.
Wow, that's serious.
It was, and the client was a young family, so they were understandably upset about the cost of replacing the engine.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The inspector took the time to really explain the situation to them, emphasizing the safety risks and the potential for further damage if they didn't fix it.
It sounds like they went above and beyond to help.
They did. They even helped the family look into some financing options to make the repair more affordable.
That's awesome. It shows empathy and a real commitment to helping people.
Now, what if the interviewer asks, looking back, would you have handled that situation differently?
Ooh, that's a good one. They're really trying to see how you reflect on your experiences.
Exactly. It's a chance to show that you're always learning and growing as a professional.
Maybe you would have explained things differently or considered other solutions.
It's all about demonstrating that you're willing to learn from your mistakes and continuously improve.
All right, let's move on to question 9. What is it?
It's all about accuracy and thoroughness. How do you ensure that your inspections are accurate and thorough?
This seems pretty straightforward.
It does, but it's crucial. Accuracy is everything in this job.
You don't want to miss anything that could potentially cause problems down the road.
Exactly. And it's not just about having a keen eye for detail.
It's about having a system in place.
Right. Think checklists, standardized procedures, and meticulous documentation.
Those are all key.
The sample response emphasizes the importance of double-checking your work
Double checking is always a good idea.
and using multiple sources of information to make sure your findings are accurate.
Like, compare your visual inspection with the readings from your diagnostic tools.
Exactly. Or cross-reference your findings with the manufacturer's specifications.
It shows that you're not taking any shortcuts and that you're committed to doing a thorough job.
Now, imagine the interviewer asks, what do you do to stay focused and avoid distractions during inspections?
Especially in a busy and noisy shop environment.
That's a great question. It shows they're looking for someone who's aware of the challenges and has strategies to overcome them.
So maybe you have a pre-inspection routine to help you get in the zone.
Yeah, like a mental checklist to clear your head.
Or you wear noise-canceling headphones to block out the distractions.
That's a good idea. Whatever works for you.
The important thing is to create an environment where you can really focus on accuracy and precision.
Both mentally and physically.
Okay, ready for the final question?
Bring it on.
This one's all about handling those inevitable conflicts that can arise in any job.
Okay, what is it?
How do you handle conflicts or disagreements with customers or colleagues regarding engine inspections or repairs?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It can be really challenging to navigate those situations, especially when people are stressed or emotions are running high.
This question is all about those interpersonal skills and your ability to stay professional under pressure.
So how do you approach a situation like that?
The sample response talks about the importance of active listening, empathy, and a calm demeanor.
It sounds like it's all about de-escalating the situation and finding common ground,
Exactly. You want to show that you can see things from the other person's perspective.
even if you don't agree with them.
Right. It's not about winning an argument. It's about finding a solution that works for everyone involved.
So you could say something like, I always try to understand where the other person is coming from and validate their concerns, even if I don't agree with them.
That's a great approach. Now, what if they ask for a specific example of a conflict you successfully resolved?
That's your chance to really showcase your skills.
Choose a situation that highlights your ability to communicate effectively, problem solve, and maintain your composure under pressure.
Maybe you had to mediate a disagreement between a mechanic and a client, or perhaps there were different opinions about the best way to handle a repair.
It's all about demonstrating your ability to facilitate a productive conversation and reach a positive outcome.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. Thanks for taking us through these sample interview questions and sharing your insights.
It's been my pleasure.
I feel like I have a much better understanding of what it takes to succeed as a motor vehicle engine inspector.
That's great to hear. And remember, the RoleCatcher Career Guide and Interview Guide are packed with even more helpful tips and advice.
And don't forget about their awesome AI, which can really help you personalize your preparation and even explore potential career paths.
It's a fantastic resource for anyone looking to break into this field or advance their career in the automotive industry.
So to all you aspiring engine inspectors out there, keep those engines running smoothly, those diagnostic tools handy, and those interview skills sharp. We're rooting for you.
And remember, with a little preparation and a passion for what you do, you can really make a difference in this field.
That's a wrap on another deep dive. We hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Until next time, keep those gears turning.